Hello, I'm Neil Driver from Davis Grant, and I'm going to be talking to you about succession planning, particularly about family businesses and passing on family businesses down generations. Passing on the business to the next generation may often seem like the best and easiest opportunity and option, but it does raise potential issues and a lot of things to get through. I've seen some work very well, and equally I've seen some be quite disastrous and breaking up relationships along the way. So there's a lot to think about in order to get it right. First thing to really consider is it actually the best option for the business? Have you thought about other options? Have you thought about third-party sale? Sometimes passing it down through the family is the most comfortable way, but really got to think through whether that is the best option for everybody overall. Is there someone that wants to lead it? Is there someone in the family who actually wants to take over and run the business? They might be working in the business now, but are they capable? Are they the right person? And what happens if more than one family member wants to take over? Doesn't necessarily have to be one. There can be various siblings who've got ideas to take on different roles. And how will you deal with that? Have you had a conversation? Have you spoken about it within the family, with everybody discussing the future of the business? How open have you been as the owner with the next generation coming through about everybody's expectations and ideas and timing and how it's all supposed to happen? Have you really given proper, full opportunity for everybody to voice their feelings and opinions and what they want for each other? I mean, we're talking about family within family here, and as well as the business side, there can be quite a lot of emotions to get through within the process. Make sure that you've given that sufficient time. So some general considerations about the business. It's great to be in a position to give your loved ones a business. It can be good, it can be a poison chalice. But if you disregard the family connection, who would you identify the next leader of that business to be? Would you identify the proposed family member as being a capable leader? When you've identified someone, what are their weaknesses, and how could all of these be managed through the process, through this whole transition process, so that they can be fully capable to do what it is they need to do? It might well be that they need formal training or work experience outside of the business before they're ready. Not everybody can do everything. And within businesses, sometimes find that business owners are really great technicians or a great salesperson or a great someone with a unique bit of knowledge that then just passes through and manages to build a business, or has got unique entrepreneurial flair to run a business. And the people coming through, the next generations, don't necessarily have that. So think about if that successor is going to be from the family, really have a look at how you can bolster their skill set in order to take on what it is you need them to do, or help them out with other support, another different style of management team to the one that the existing owner may have. So how can you finance the transaction if it is going to be moved down the generations? How does that affect the possibility of the business to give you the money that it is you want to extract within that process? Will passing down to the next generation affect that value that you can achieve? How much can that successor within the family afford to put in the business? Will you need to leave some equity in the business? All of these things are different factors when you have a family sale to an external sale. It might well be that the business has got sufficient capital to pay out what you need, but if not, how are you going to achieve the money that you want for your retirement if it is down through the next generations and what financial burden is that going to impose on them in order to pay you what it is that you need from the business, because ultimately that money can only generally be got from one place, which is the business itself. And in order for the business to flourish, it can't be overburdened to pay out the exiting family member. Are you ready to relinquish control? Do you trust who it is? Do you trust your child or the next generation to make those leadership decisions? Can you let go? It's frequently, I've seen situations where you've got family people coming in, the elder generation that wants to leave doesn't let the next generation get on with the business, and it can cause an awful lot of conflict and anxiety where the generations then clash. There can only be one leader, and you don't want to strain that relationship. So you have to be ready to let go, and you have to make sure that the communication around that is very clear. So family succession doesn't mean that you've got to take shortcuts within the process. You've got to follow a correct process as if it was an external sale. And I'd say, in fact, following the correct process is even more important with a family or internal sale. You've still got to use independent advisors, make sure the plan is fair for everybody involved, and everyone is accountable throughout the process. Having a shareholder agreement is fundamental, and it's got to cover the what-if scenarios and help protect the business, as well as clearly define roles in an organization chart, and roles and responsibility is also as vital for you so that everybody knows who's doing what as the business transitions and as you transition out and people move up. So it's not just about the person exiting. Whilst the person exiting, a lot of succession is about you, you've also got to consider the business as a whole. You know, you've got obligations to support your existing employees and the team in the way that you have done in the past. How can you minimize the risk to them throughout the process? Team and the employees are key to making the business function and move forward. So you've got to really make sure that they're protected within the transition process too. Whatever you do for the employees, are all the employee benefits documented properly in employment agreements? Sometimes, you know, exiting employers look after someone or do something special for someone, and when that person's gone, if the employee doesn't get the same treatment from the new level of management, of owners, it may well be that they get upset, don't perform well, or even leave. So you've got to make sure that you cover all those angles within the process. So when you're thinking about succession planning, now is the time to put the process in place to protect all your employees. After all, they're such an important part of the business, and you need them to help a smooth transition too. Think about your customers, think about your relationships with them. You've got to transition those too within the process, and their needs have got to be managed throughout that process too. Because obviously the longevity of your customers and what happens after you exit can have a major impact on the price that you achieve or your earnout or whatever. So it's not just the transaction and the management team that's coming in. You've got to think about your employees. You've got to think about your customers. And there also might be other environmental considerations that impact your decision to make sure you get the right outcome for everyone involved. So if you're doing a family sale, if you're thinking of transitioning your business within to the next generation, this was just a snapshot of some important factors for you, but it's vitally important that you plan it as if it was to an external sale. It's just that you're going to be dealing with the people internally, and you've really got to think about the relationships and the process and how you are going to deal with that within the beginning part of the process to make sure everything else runs smoothly from there. So I hope that's been some help. If you need some more advice or details on anything to do with this succession planning, please do get in touch.